What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Campaign Grind. I am Pedro Diaz. I am your host, and this is The Campaign Grind. We are here accompanied once again by our good friend and co-host, Mr. Ray Valdez.
How you doing, Pedro?
Good, man.
You look very energized.
I am very energized.
Vacation.
We had a vacation. We had a whole bunch of meetings today, and meetings here in Miami. It's a whole bunch of coffee, so I'm amped up. I'm ready to go. A whole bunch of caffeine. How are you, man?
That's good. All right.
Yeah.
Hanging in there.
That's good. That's good.
Still trying to recover from celebrating another birthday year last month. So I'm worried.
Slowly but surely,
getting up there.
He's getting up the ladder. But thank you very much for coming in, man. I appreciate it. Guys, as always, if this is your first time tuning into the Campaign Grind, I guarantee you're gonna find some gold nuggets here that you could implement into your everyday life, your personal life, your business life, your political life, whatever. I guarantee you're gonna find some useful information here. The only thing we do ask is that if you find any value whatsoever, please share with your friends and your family on social media. If you're an avid listener, an avid viewer of the Campaign Grind, thank you guys very much for the love and the support. We appreciate the love and we appreciate the support. Today's episode, I actually want to talk to you guys about systems. Okay, systems to keep your campaign organized and on point. Now, as I say in not every episode, but in most of these episodes, we run campaigns just as you would run any business. Any successful business, and I'm going to talk to Ray about this right now, has to have some systems in place and some processes in place to know what your numbers are, how much more money you need to make this month to reach your goals, and so on and so forth. So your campaign needs to have those very same systems in place if you want to make sure you accomplish your goal, your ultimate goal, which at the end of the day is dominating and crushing your election and getting elected. So Ray, Ray, as many of you guys know, Ray's into real estate, and especially now in this day and age, real estate is just blowing up. It seems like almost everybody you come across is a realtor. But what ends up happening is
more realtors than citizens.
There's more realtors than citizens. But what ends up happening is that any successful realtor, any successful mortgage company, or anybody involved in real estate is because they have these systems in place to follow up with the clients, how they propose or how they show these new listings to their clients, and so on and so forth. But I'm not going to talk about real estate. This is a campaign grind. We're going to talk about campaigns, elections, and how to crush it. But I do want to let you guys know that the systems we use here for campaigns is very similar to the business ones. So that's where we're going to jump here with Ray. Ray, what types of systems, when you were running for office, I know you didn't have many systems in place or many systems or processes in place. Now, knowing what we do now, how beneficial would your campaign, or how much different would your campaign been if you did have these systems in place? If you had something to tell you need to knock on X amount of doors in order to hit this goal, if you need to raise them X amount of money, you need to call these people, and so on and so on. How different would your campaign have been? Because I know my campaign would have been completely different. Yeah. The outcome of my campaign would have been completely different.
Exactly. Well, the fact that there is a lot of issues with this, with this package, in the sense of keeping the campaign organized. And the fact is, it's like real estate is very regulated.
Yeah.
So are political campaigns. And you better know what you're doing well, so that you don't have a backlash later.
Yeah.
So, it is very important that, that you have a real structure, that the limit on your donations, that that it's very important to know who is donating funds to you.
Correct.
Very important to have a good treasurer that knows what he's doing, what's going on, etc., etc. So, there's a lot of issues having to do with really organizing the campaign.
Yeah.
If you want to have a successful campaign, and if you want to have not have the least problems, in claiming donations and so on, because to me, money is a very important issue.
Yep.
You must always, like I know you always push. You did me push on raising funds, raising money. From the beginning, the first thing you said is, hey, raise cash. Give me the names of your best 10 friends, and let's start from there, and so on and so forth. But you can't do it all yourself. You need a good strategist. You need organization. For me, means a structure and a systematic way of doing things that fall into a place one after the other, and a sequence of events that is what's going to drive your campaign make it a successful campaign.
Yeah.
So it is very important to be organized, but to have all the right things in place and to know where you're going to go. Like if you just went to Disney World, so when you left Miami, your destination was Disney World.
Correct.
So it's the same thing on the campaign. So you got to know how much gas you're going to need, where you're going to go, and know your destination, and which is hopefully to succeed on your campaign.
Yeah.
So this is very important from the beginning, that you have a good strategist, that you have a good structure, and that you maintain that organization, that system that you
Correct. Yeah, because a lot of candidates, and we've been interviewing candidates because these even number years, especially here in Miami-Dade County, they're very hectic. There's lots of races going on, and people want to run for office. And we come across a lot of different candidates that they do have their heart in the right place. They want to do good. They want to make the community better. But what ends up happening is that their vision for a campaign is completely different from the reality of what a campaign is. So a lot of people think that just running for a campaign, running for office is just filing your paperwork and I'm running a campaign. That's not what it is. You need to do a whole bunch of work. Legwork, raising cash is not easy. Knocking on doors is not easy. Making phone calls is not easy. So it's not just putting your name in on the ballot.
It's a tough job.
It's a very tough job. So in order to make that whole process, the election process and campaigning process easier, you want to make sure that your campaign, just how you would in your business, has systems in place. Just how Ray was saying, you're taking a trip up to Disney World or Disneyland. You put in the GPS. It tells you it's going to take you 3.5, 4 hours. You know how many stops you need to make. You know how much gas you need to put in your car. So your campaign needs to have the same exact system or GPS per se. So I actually want to talk about 3 different types of systems that your campaign, or 3 important systems your campaign should have. And I am going to talk about one of the most important ones, which you brought up, which is for donors and the campaign finances. That's actually the last one we got. But the first system I want to talk about is a canvassing system. It's very important for every campaign to have a canvassing system. The reason, and what I mean by canvassing system, is not just printing out a walk list and saying, I'm going to knock on these doors and mark it with a pen or a Sharpie and say, I knocked on those doors, positive, negative, or undecided. There's systems out there now, or there's programs out there now that you could just download on your phone, different apps, and it integrates with either your canvassing, with your phone bank system or your mailing system or even your donor system. And everything is all together in the cloud or in that database. So you really want to stay away from printing out walk sheets, because what's going to end up happening, I think I remember I knocked on that house. Let me see the notes. And then guess what's going to happen? Your dog ate the paper, you lost the notes, it got wet, it got wrinkled, and you can't understand what you wrote on that piece of paper. As opposed to getting and investing in a legitimate canvassing system, a legitimate walking app that you can just have on your phone. You have any questions whatsoever, you have any doubts, you want to see what the notes were when you spoke to Ray when you knocked on his door 2 weeks ago, you could very easily open it up on your phone and see, okay, I spoke to Ray, he had an issue, it was his birthday last month, it's been a month since I visited him, let me go knock on his door.
Very important, because after a while, and you've knocked on 3,000 doors, and you sent 5,000 postcards out, and all this, you don't know who is who.
Exactly.
So this is so important to keep track of all your phone calls. You're gonna leave palm cards or door hangers on the doors, and people are gonna call you back. And someone is gonna ask you, what do you think about gun control? Or, what are you going to do for me? I'm a senior citizen here. And, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a lot of issues, and you better be ready.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you actually brought that up about the gun control, because that's a big issue here now, not only in the state of Florida, but nationwide. So if you are canvassing, and this actually goes to the second one as well, the phone bank system. Mm-hmm. If you are canvassing or you are phone banking, and you do come across somebody that asks you about gun control, and you have that sheet of paper, you're not going to know exactly if that person is a registered Republican, a Democrat, or how they lean, because you're going to have to look through those sheets of papers and figure out, okay, is he or she on this page or they're on this page? You don't know exactly where they're at. As opposed to having it directly on your phone or your laptop or your iPads or tablets, and you can look up the phone number, look up the voter by their name, and get a good idea. Instantly. This person's registered Republican, this person's registered Democrat, and then you can kind of tailor your message according to that particular person, and obviously whatever your views are. So it's very important to have systems in place for your canvassing. For exactly what Ray said, you want to know exactly if once you're knocking on a door and they ask you about a certain issue and you're not 100% sure, it's very easy just to look on your phone app, see if it's a Republican, Democrat, and kind of figure out where they stand.
One thing that I wanted to mention, a lot of us get emotional. We get hung on some of these issues that are very tough in the community, things that are not solved by our legislators, and there's all kinds of issues in every community. And then we get emotional and we think that we know so many people. We've been in the community for the last 40 years and 30 years and so on, and I know everybody from work, from here, from this social club, from all these things, and you think that you get out there and say, hey, I'm going to run for office. I got all these people and so on, and it is so important that you do have to focus on your district.
Yep.
You do have to knock on doors. You do have to raise funds, and and a lot of your friends and family and all the others are not going to live probably in the same district where you're running for.
Correct.
So you're going to contact a lot of these people for the first time.
Yep.
So you better be ready. Don't get emotional. Get focused on the campaign.
Yeah.
Be ready to do a lot of work for a year or year and a half, unless you're somebody that is really very well known, because maybe you had a show on TV like The Apprentice or something like this. So then but otherwise you
need to put in that work.
You got to put in that work in the area.
Correct.
In your district, in your area where you're running for. And a lot of times you did not belong to the PTA in your area, your neighborhood watch, or any of these things. And then you think the issues. You have certain situation, and then you want to run for office. And then when you go to run for office, where are you going to run? Well, you got to run in the district where you live, and many municipalities and counties, and so you got to live in your area for a year, 2 years at least, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's true. That's true. And now the systems that I'm talking about, it's just like what Ray was saying and what I was saying before. One of the things you want to do is, once you have the canvassing system, is try to find a system that's compatible with whatever phone bank operation or phone bank system you're going to be using. The reason why I say that, you're going to save a lot of time and a lot of headaches, I guarantee you, because when we first started out in this business, we were printing out paper walk sheets for the candidates, giving it to them. This is a list you got to walk, mark positive, negative, undecided, so on and so forth. And then at the end of the week, give them to me so we can input them into the computer, right? So that was a pain. I guarantee it was a pain in the butt. It was horrible. I hated every minute of it because we had to do that data entry every single time. And that was just for the canvassing, not including the data and the information we had to input for the phone banking. So what you want to do, especially now with today's technology and the different apps and resources that are out there, especially for campaigns and elections, you want to make sure that whatever system you're using for the canvassing is compatible with the phone bank system. Not many of the canvassing systems offer phone bank operation or phone bank platform either. So you're going to have to kind of combine two different platforms and companies to basically put all that stuff together. But you want to make sure that it's all in sync, and you can that they are compatible. The phone bank system with your canvassing system. So like that, once you're canvassing, you're using your mobile device, your tablet, whatever, your phone, you hit up a door, it says positive. Once you hit positive on your phone, it automatically gets sent over to your system, and then it goes into the phone bank, and it says this person was knocked on today. They are positive. And then if it's a negative, it goes to the phone bank system, and it gets removed from that list.
Yeah.
So like that, you don't waste time calling people that you already knocked on the door and you know that they're negative. So this is the importance of actually having systems that work well together, because in the long run, I know it's a pain in the butt to set it all up initially, but in the long run, it's going to save you a lot of heartache. I guarantee it. The final point I want to talk about is the donor tracking. But before we get into that, if you guys haven't checked out the electionmarketplace.com yet, I urge you guys to please check it out. It's electionmarketplace.com. There you could purchase your mailers, phone banking, robocalls, text messages, yard signs. This is a website that we put together to help a lot of candidates throughout not only the entire state of Florida, but also throughout the entire United States. Because we've been reaching out to several clients, candidates, not only throughout the state of Florida, but throughout the entire United States. And we saw this void of candidates that don't raise a lot of cash. The reason being is because the city, the town, or the village that they're running in, there's not much interest. They don't have lobbyists or don't have much development or anything like that. So they don't raise the amount of money that you would raise in a county race or a state race or a federal race. So when you're running in such a small level, in a local level, and you don't raise a lot of cash, you don't get a lot of consultants going after them, and you really don't know what you're doing unless you're looking at YouTube videos or you're watching this video, and you're kind of piecemealing your entire campaign. So we put together Election Marketplace so any candidate throughout the entire United States can go on there, see the different products and services that we offer our clients, okay? And these are essential needs and products and services for any campaign. So I urge you guys to check out electionmarketplace.com, electionmarketplace.com, and I'm gonna actually give you guys 15% off. You just gotta use promo code SAVE15. Promo code SAVE15, you're gonna save 15% off your entire order on electionmarketplace.com. So the next point I wanna talk about is donor tracking. Another system, okay? How Ray was saying before when we first started the episode, the fundraising is very important. You got to know exactly what the limit is. Some municipalities here in Miami-Dade County are 250, some are 500, some are 1,000, and some in other states are 2,500 or 2,500, 1,000, so on and so forth. So you want to make sure that none of your donors exceed that amount of money. It's great, yeah, because they're giving you the money, but you could get fined and penalized for that. Yeah. So you need to make sure that your campaign has a system for the fundraising, so like that nobody gives too much money and you don't get fined in the long run. And
that you got a good treasurer that knows what he's doing.
Correct.
There's a lot of information that you have to put in there.
Yeah.
Where the check came from, the amount,
occupation,
the address, and so on and so forth of the donor. And all this, so you want to make sure that when you take a check, you know who you're taking that check from.
Yep.
And I think that's like having a good treasurer, having a good strategist, and so on and so forth. This is a team that you have to put together.
Absolutely.
Before you even, I would say before you take off, either contact Pedro, give him a call. It's he always give you a 15-20 minutes free consultation. The phone number is over here.
Oh yeah, the phone number. I forgot to mention it earlier today. If you guys have any questions, please give us a call. Here's the number: 1-888-688-DIAZ. Very easy. 1-888-688-DIAZ. 1-888-688-DIAZ.
Exactly. And give Pedro a call. And he'll walk you through some of the issues and things that you should consider before you even take off. Yeah. So that you have your team put together, you have your treasurer, you have your forms, your things that you're going to have to follow up. Because now I think that at first you start doing the report it's like once a month, but then every 2 weeks, and then it's like every week, and so on and so forth. So you got to have a treasurer that is on top of your donations.
Yeah.
A lot of communities don't raise a lot of funds because also you have a lot of small communities that less than 5,000 people living there. So
much less than 5,000 people. We actually did an election. It was last year, and if I'm not mistaken, the town. It wasn't even a city, and it wasn't 500. A village. No, the town was like a 2,000 and something residents. So that doesn't include the amount of voters.
Yeah.
So, that's why we put Election Marketplace together. But the donor tracking and the donor system, it's not only to see how to make sure that no donor gives too much money, but also, this is the flip side, and if you're donating to campaigns, you're going to hate me for this, and I'm sorry, but put systems in place so you know that if your limit is $500 and this donor only gave you $250, you can still hit them up for another $250. So these systems make your campaign so much easier and make your campaign run so much smoother, because one, with the canvassing, everything's going to be streamlined into the phone bank system. You're not going to waste any time.
And I wanted to say something about the donor. If somebody donates you $200, talk to that person to get you somebody else, a friend of his, a relative, or someone like that. Because if he was committed enough to give you $200 or $100 or $300 or whatever it is, I'm sure that he's committed to helping you. He'll have a wife or a cousin or a son or somebody that is going to be willing to also follow him and give you another $100, $200, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah. And that's when the whole system comes into place, because you could write it down on a sheet of paper, but then you're gonna have to go cook dinner, you're gonna have to pick up the kids from school, you're gonna have to take them to soccer practice, you're gonna have to knock on doors or start making phone calls, and it's going to get lost and it's never going to get done. That's why put these systems in place to make your life so much easier. Any successful business has systems and processes in place. Your campaign needs to have the same exact thing. The 3 systems I would recommend is canvassing system, a phone banking system, and then somewhat of a CRM or a customer relationship manager for your donors. So make sure you put these systems in place to run a successful campaign. And like I said, I know it's going to be a pain in the butt in the very beginning to set it all up, input all the information, and so on and so forth. But in the long run, throughout the entire campaign, and especially once these absentee ballots start coming out, when it's really go time that you need to be 100% full throttle in this campaign, it's going to make your campaign run so much smoother.
And before you get started, call Pedro here at Campaign Grind.
It's the campaign grind, but we'll get to that. So, guys, as always, if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to shoot me an email, pedro@diazcampaigns.com, pedro@diazcampaigns.com, or give me a call, 1-888-688-DIAZ. Once again, 1-888-688-DIAZ. Ray, thank you very much for.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. So, thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of the Campaign Grind. I am Pedro Diaz, signing out.